Hello YouTube, this is The Bucket coming at you today with my Colt Lawman Mark III in 357 Magnum. This, in my opinion, is one of the best options for a budding Colt collector to get an awesome, cool, vintage Colt, but get it at probably a much more reasonable rate. This, the Colt Lawman, is the service grade option of the Colt Trooper. So Colt had been very successful in World War I and World War II with the Colt 1911s. They even sold some Colt Commandos. And when they came back from the service, Smith & Wesson had really succeeded hitting that middle ground market. And the guns that they were making, like the Official Police and the Police Positive, the Detective Special, were all guns that really needed to be hand fit together, and they were really struggling competing for that market of people that maybe couldn't afford that level of quality but wanted a good firearm, and they were starting to go to Smith & Wesson. So Colt came out with the Trooper line, and the Lawman is part of that Trooper line. Now, the Trooper line would have adjustable sights and would have a lug underneath the barrel to protect the extractor. And they thought that the the Lawman would be a great option for, service members that might not need that level of protection. And this is what they came up with. They did a couple of cost-cutting measures, such as the bluing is a little different than that classic deep blue, although I will tell you, when I picked this gun up, companies just don't blue firearms anymore, and this is gorgeous. It's got a great shine to it. It's just absolutely beautiful, and having a lot of Colts, this is not the same, but man, it is so nice, and it's such a nice change of pace from what you get anywhere else. The other thing they did, and there's no real way to show it, is they started to use sintered, but that's spelled S-I-N-T-E-R-E-D. It's kind of the first attempt at like a MIM part, and they use that on the firing pin. Now, the firing pin is not attached to the hammer, so we can't see it here. But unfortunately with that, if the gun is dry fired a lot without use of snap caps, that is kind of a very hard part, but a very brittle part, and you may end up breaking that firing pin. And the problem is Colt is the only place that has the tools to replace it, and to be honest with you, I don't even know if Colt does it anymore. So if you're going to pick up one of these Lawmen, invest in some snap caps so you can do your dry fire practice. Let's talk about the specs of this particular firearm. Now, I'm going to give you the specs of my firearm with these target grips. Some of these guns came without target grips, and obviously that's going to adjust some of the measurements a little bit. So this is an all-steel firearm, 6+0 and 357 mag. The overall length comes in at 9.5 inches. The barrel length of mine is 4 inches. The overall width is 1.57 in these big beefy target grips. The overall height is 5.25, and the weight unloaded is 36 ounces. Now again, all of the Lawman 357s are going to come in 357 Magnum. No, there aren't any Lawmen that are in 38 Special, unlike the Troopers. Now, the Lawman will come in two sizes, the 4-inch and the 2-inch variant, which the 2-inch is just like a big, beefy Detective Special because it's got to be that way for chambered for 357. And towards the end of the run, they actually started putting an underlug on those 2-inch Lawmen. So you can actually find some Lawmen with that under protective lug. So as far as firing this gun, I will be honest with you, it was a great and reliable firearm. I was not a big fan of these grips. While I think they're absolutely gorgeous, everything's just so smooth, and you'll see in my videos that the gun just wants to slip out of my hand, and if I got up high enough, I could really get the full amount of control. If you're planning on firing a lot of 357s out of one of these and you've got the target grips, you might want to invest in some Pachmayr grips. The trigger was good. It was long and it was heavy, but it was not hard to manage, and it was smooth. The single action was absolutely buttery smooth. I really enjoyed that and enjoyed this big wide hammer up here. Again, if you're wanting your first Colt double action revolver, this is a great option. They're not the most expensive, but you're still getting that high quality. As far as the accuracy goes, this is the other problem, is I think mine shoots just a hair left of the point of aim, point of impact. That is 38 special at 7 yards, single action. When I went to the double action, I put a few more rounds in there. I did this with 357. No, this is single action 357 Magnum. And again, you're seeing it's just shooting a little bit to the left, but I got 3 into that 10 ring, which I didn't, I only had 2 in the last one. A couple in the 9 in that flyer. That was, in fact, just me. Can't blame the gun on that one. When I started doing the double action with the 357 Magnum, I ended up getting 1, 2, 3 in the 10 ring, 3 of them hitting the red. I ended up touching the 10 ring on those other 2 and the other 2 in the 9. So if you're willing to put forth a little bit of energy into it and maybe think about getting maybe a set of Pachmeyer rubber grips, something that will help you control that beastie 357, I think this is a great option. So when I looked at Gunbroker, and this is March of 2025, I saw some of the sold listings of rougher models than the rougher ones than mine were selling for, some of them sold for as cheap as $550. When you got to the 2-inch versions, all those seemed to be north of $800, a lot of those into the thousands. One in my condition seemed to go right around that $600 to $800 price range. But to have that beautiful deep blue, I mean, obviously there was a little bit of holster wear there. There's a little bit of thinning of the bluing here. I mean, it's not perfect, a little bit of high edge wear, but it's still a gorgeous firearm. And if you don't want to spend Python money, if you don't want to go even further back, this is really a great option. And it's something that's pretty versatile, with being 38 special, with it being 357 Magnum, and single action, double action. It's just an awesome option. So the next time you're at a pawn shop, next time you're at a gun show, look out for the Colt Lawman Mark III. It is a great firearm, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. I do want to thank you guys all for supporting the channel, all the likes, the comments, the shares. They're really appreciated. And as always, you stay classy, YouTube.
I learned a lesson. Never half-ass 2 things. Whole-ass 1 thing.